Imagine this. A 6'3" point guard is coming down the court with his head on fire, a mean mug on his face, his eyes burning with anger. You're screaming at your center to get out of the paint, but it's too late. You're about to witness a murder, because this is 2017 Russell Westbrook. Russ's dunks had some bite to them that season. He was angry at the rim, and I think we all know why. A decision that shook the NBA world unleashed what we now know as peak Westbrook. Mr. Triple-Double, the dude who made history and redefined what it meant to be a point guard with a regular season for the ages. 2017 Russell Westbrook was the monster you'd see in your nightmares. I mean, look at this.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Price I want for sure, you gon' need 3 promoters. I got the body from Jim Ellis, but I had switched the motor.
2017 Westbrook was a freak of nature, a monster who saw blood every time he stepped on the court. But who created this villain? How did he turn into this version of Russ? Well, his origin story begins in the 2016 Western Conference Finals. Oklahoma City and their star duo of Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant just took a commanding 3-1 series lead against the seemingly unbeatable 73-9 Golden State Warriors in Game 4 of the 2016 Western Conference Finals. OKC was essentially a lock to make a return to the NBA Finals. In fact, teams that take a 3-1 lead go on to win the series a whopping 96.1% of the time. It was over, except they imploded. OKC lost 3 straight games and they were done. It was an absolute stunner, but what happened next was jaw-dropping. Just over a month later, Kevin Durant backstabs Westbrook and all of OKC, signing with the Golden State Warriors in free agency just weeks after he had reportedly told Russ that he wasn't leaving and that he planned to re-sign with the Thunder. Clearly, that didn't happen. As we know, Westbrook is one of the fiercest competitors in the game. It's not like he needed extra motivation to get his engine running. But this decision flipped a switch, and it turned Russ into a whole other beast. Russ exploded out of the gates with 32, 12, and 9 on opening night against the 76ers. This dude wasn't playing, and without KD, Westbrook was going to be the entire offense. And in Game 2 of the season against the Phoenix Suns, that was on full display.
We inside the proudest storage, Caliban girl. In a California right when I
Westbrook fouled at the elbow and one. How about Sabonis? Westbrook looking for contact to rebound. And on the bounce, Sabonis scores. On the run. Westbrook powering into the lane, scoring and one. Westbrook inside the free throw line, score. So now to Westbrook, the cutter. It's Robinson, he scores. Here we go. Westbrook attacking, Westbrook scoring.
51 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists in the second game of the season is nasty work. Russ was sending a statement to the rest of the league. He was coming. He followed his 50-point triple-double with 33, 11, and 16 on the Lakers, and then 35 points in a vicious tomahawk slam against LA's B team. OKC was 4-0 to start the season, and Russ was soaring as they entered the Bay to face Golden State and their new superstar. For the first time in their career, Durant and Westbrook would face off against each other on opposing teams, and our boy got smoked. He scored just 20 points on rough efficiency, while KD exploded for 39 as the Warriors torched them by 26 points. It was a rough loss, but OKC was thriving. They were 7-1 to start the season, with Russ averaging a near 30-point triple-double. There's no way he's gonna keep this up, right? And then reality hit. The Thunder lost 4 straight games, then won 2 straight, including this lightning strike by Russ in the clutch against the Rockets, and then they lost another 3 straight to put their record at 8-8 on the season. OKC came back down to reality, but Russ didn't. Triple-double, 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 and triple-double. Brody put on a 7-game masterclass with 7 consecutive triple-doubles, averaging 29, 13, and 13, and going 6-1 during that stretch. The dude was literally doing everything for his team, and that's because he had no other choice. The Thunder had created a roster built to surround 2 superstars, not one, and instead of pouting and complaining for his team to make a move, Russ went to work. He put the squad on his back, carrying them into playoff position, and it helped that he had some extra motivation entering the season. Everything was personal for this dude. I mean, listen to some of these dunks that he's throwing down. They sound like literal gunshots.
Oklahoma City lead.
And it wasn't just his nuclear athleticism either. It's the wizardry of his passes, his rebounding ability as a small guard, and his clutch gene that were all coming together for a historic start to the season. However, he wasn't even the frontrunner for MVP. On the morning of December 23, 2016, the NBA released their monthly NBA MVP ladder, one that had James Harden ranked first and the point guard ranked second. That did not sit well with Russ, and lucky for him, he can respond tonight because he's facing the 3rd-seeded Celtics at TD Garden in Boston, and Brody made his case for MVP loud and clear.
Westbrook will pull up the straightaway 3, falls for Russ. Screen by Sabonis, Westbrook to the rim. Westbrook is back for the Thunder, rises up and scores over Smart. Westbrook off contact and one. Great Thunder defense. Westbrook rolling to the rim. He scores and one. Thomas has missed his last 3 shots at least. Westbrook going for more and he's got it. Westbrook looking at a soft double team. He's going to rear up and start from 3. He might have taken that from Natick, Massachusetts.
A 45-point triple-double, including back-to-back threes from the left wing to seal the win with a little dance. Russ was feeling himself in what was his 3rd straight 40-point game. Is he MVP worthy now? To me, he was. Westbrook followed it up with 31 and 15 assists on Christmas Day against Minnesota, 29, 17, and 11 on Miami, killing Charlotte for 33, 15, and 8, 49, 8, and 5 against the man he was chasing in the MVP rankings, 32, 17, and 11, and then 36, 11, and 10 in a win against Sacramento. This dude was stuffing the stat sheet unlike any point guard since Oscar Robertson, and it brought up an interesting conversation. Russ now had 20 triple-doubles on the season, just 21 shy of tying the Big O's single-season record of 41. And he was also averaging a triple-double halfway through the year. There were some serious rumblings that Westbrook would have a shot at doing the impossible. But we'd have to put that conversation on hold, because another storyline was back for seconds. It was round 2 of Russ versus KD, and unfortunately, it was a repeat. Russ did throw down a nasty sledgehammer dunk in the 3rd quarter, but that was the only bright spot. This time KD lit them up for 40 as the Warriors spanked them by 21. That one definitely stung Westbrook, and he'd have to sit on it for a while with a 5-day break between games. Whoever they're gonna play next is gonna catch hands from an angered, demonized Russell Westbrook. And unfortunately for the Utah Jazz, that happened to be them.
It's not enough.
Westbrook off the screen, scores from 3. Robertson finding the trailer. Westbrook checking Westbrook, who will step away from him and score again, hitting in regulation. He'll pop Westbrook in the face.
All you need is a 2 right here.
Westbrook off the midcourt screen from Adams. He'll pull up. He'll score! 1.4 seconds remaining, and the Thunder back on the high side. Westbrook.
Brody torched Utah with finesse for 38, 11, 10, and 4, including a pull-up midi with 1.4 seconds left, to win the game. A performance so great that it rightfully placed him first in the NBA's January MVP ladder. And he kept it rolling too. Just 3 days later, he erupted for 17 in the fourth quarter in a win against Dallas to cap off a 45-point masterpiece. And just 3 games after that, he showers Memphis with an array of jumpers in clutch time, scoring 13 straight points to secure the win for OKC and earn his 25th triple-double of the season, just 16 shy of the record. We were watching history in the making, and the stat lines this dude was dropping were simply ridiculous. So here's a little segment dedicated to some of his best stat lines in a span of just 15 games. 27, 18, and 9, 29, 12, and 11, 47, 11, and 8 in KD's return to OKC, but once again, they got smoked. 38 points, 14 rebounds, and 12 assists against the Knicks, 17, 18, and 17, 41, 11, and 11, then 43, 11, and 10, followed by a ridiculous 48 point, 17 board, 9 dime performance against the Suns, finalized by a 58 point nuke against Portland in what happened to be a 4th consecutive loss for OKC. See, Russ had a near perfect MVP case. He had the numbers, the performances, and even the narrative. But what he didn't have was the record. The Thunder were just 35 and 29 on the season. Had it not been for Russ, these dudes would be at the bottom of the standings. But regardless, it just wasn't good enough for an MVP, knocking him back down to 2nd in the NBA's MVP ladder. Now with just over a month left in the season, his odds looked slim. However, Brody was chasing history. He was averaging 32, 10, and 10 on the season. If he were to maintain this stat line and become just the 2nd player in history to average a triple-double while breaking Oscar Robertson's single-season record, his MVP odds would skyrocket. There's no doubt, especially if it resulted in winning. So, as he entered the final stretch of the season, Russ went crazy. Over the next 9 games, Westbrook carried OKC to a 7-2 record, and Brody recorded 7 triple-doubles, now just 5 away from breaking the record. This was the stretch that Russ desperately needed to get his MVP case heating up again. And if the voters weren't swayed just yet, a season-defining performance in Orlando might do the trick.
It back to the glass. Westbrook will get inside. 4-point game again for Westbrook. Spotting up. Westbrook will attack. He'll score. Absorbing. Westbrook across the timeline. He's trapped. He fires. He scores! You're going to have to pardon me while I pass out.
57 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists. These are video game numbers. Oh, and did I mention he nailed a fading 3 to tie the game late in regulation and then sealed the win in overtime? He was a monster. This was Westbrook's signature performance of the season, and from this game forward, many had Russ as the MVP. But history was still on the line. With 38 triple-doubles on the season, he needed 4 more in his final 8 games to break the record. And it started out pretty well. He dropped 32, 15, and 12 against the Kings. He went ballistic against the Hornets for a 40-point triple-double, following that up with 12, 13, and 13 against Milwaukee to tie Oscar Robertson. One more, and Russ is making history. So in his next game against Memphis, he goes crazy for 45 points, 10 assists, but just 9 rebounds. And then he goes for 23 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists in his next game. But no one was worried. This was Mr. Triple-Double. Westbrook needed just one more triple-double to break a record that literally no one thought would ever be broken. So, as he entered Denver well overdue and on the verge of history, Russ put on a show for the ages.
Some records are meant to be broken, but wow. I mean, Oscar, woo.
No, there's not one guy on this planet who can do it. I think that's one of those records that will never be touched.
I don't think that's going to happen either, not for a whole year.
What Oscar did with the triple-double, and that would never happen ever again. Never in history of the game.
Sends up Potter to score. Russell Westbrook is 1 assist away from NBA history. Working off it. Russell kicks it to the corner. And he's got it! That is the stuff of legends right there. With his 42nd triple-double, Russell Westbrook has broken the single-season record established more than a half-century ago by Oscar Robertson. Westbrook set up by Robertson for three. He's got another.
There's a quick two we're talking about.
And he scores it. Thunder's out of timeouts. Adams gives it back to Russ. Deep shot. What a perfect ending to a historic day. Westbrook gives the Thunder the victory at the buzzer.
Russell Westbrook rewrote the history books with his 42nd triple-double of the season. And he did it in style too. 50 points, 16 boards, 10 dimes, and a 36-foot bomb at the buzzer to win the game. And funny enough, it eliminated the Denver Nuggets from playoff contention. As you probably guessed it was enough. Russell Westbrook was voted the NBA's most valuable player, averaging a 31-point triple-double. A one-of-one season that I can confidently say we will never see again. But I gotta remind you that we still had the playoffs. OKC ended up finishing the season as the 6th seed in the West, giving us a dream first-round matchup between Russ and the man who he took the MVP from. The postseason didn't offer the same magic that the regular season had for Westbrook, and Game 1 made it obvious. A rough 22-point outing on 6 of 23 shooting in a 31-point loss. It was bad, but in Game 2, Brody was on fire. Through 3 quarters, he had 36 points, 9 rebounds, and 12 assists on great efficiency, and OKC was up by 3. Then it all went downhill. In the 4th quarter, Russ shot an abysmal 4 for 18 from the field and 1 for 7 from 3. His final stat line looks great, but the efficiency is, well, questionable. The Thunder lose by 4 and go down 0-2. At home in Game 3, Mr. Triple-Double cooked with 32, 12, and 11 to get OKC back in the series. But in the end, that's all she wrote. Russ put up some crazy numbers in Game 4, but once again, it was a rough shooting performance as the Thunder go down 3-1. And with his dream season on the line in Game 5, Westbrook took off for 47, 11, and 9, but it just wasn't enough to keep his team alive. Even at his absolute peak in 2017, in one of the greatest individual regular seasons in history, Westbrook's year ended in the same fashion that it has for the entirety of his career. Now at 36 years old, I'm afraid we'll never see one of the greatest players of our generation capture that elusive title. Nonetheless, 2017 Westbrook gave us something that we'd never seen before, and it hasn't been the same since he's been gone.
That's all you